What if everything we've been told about Biggie's death was only half the story? For nearly 3 decades, the official version has gone unchallenged. A random drive-by on the streets of Los Angeles on March 9th, 1997, that ended the life of one of hip-hop's greatest icons. But Genedeal, Diddy's former bodyguard who was right there that night, has finally stepped forward with a chilling version of events. And his story doesn't just question the official timeline, it suggests the truth may have been far darker than anyone realized. The story we've all heard goes like this. On the night of March 9th, 1997, Christopher Wallace, better known as the Notorious B.I.G., was leaving a party at the Peterson Automotive Museum in Los Angeles. Around 12:45 a.m., a Chevy Impala pulled up alongside his SUV at a red light and 4 shots were fired into the vehicle. Biggie was rushed to Cedars-Sinai Medical Center, but was pronounced dead at just 24 years old. Police framed the killing as a gang-related hit tied to the East Coast-West Coast feud that had already claimed Tupac 6 months earlier. For years, this explanation stuck. It was neat, it was simple, and it closed the case in the public's eyes. But Genedeal, who was part of Puffy's security team that very night, says the truth was anything but simple. And according to him, what really happened on those LA streets didn't match the official story at all. Genedeal wasn't just some distant observer. He was right there on the ground, assigned as part of Puffy's security team. That night in Los Angeles, he was positioned close to the caravan of SUVs leaving the Peterson Automotive Museum, keeping his eyes on both Puff and Biggie. According to Gene, he wasn't riding inside Biggie's truck, but he was close enough to see the movement of cars and the strange energy on the streets that night. He's claimed in interviews that he noticed vehicles trailing their convoy long before the shooting, something that set off alarms in his mind. What makes his account chilling is how detailed he is. He remembers the order of cars, the distance between them, and the way the shooters seemed to already know exactly where Biggie was sitting. To Gene, it didn't feel random. It felt like a setup, and what happened next would leave him convinced that someone on the inside had ignored the warning signs. Genedeal has always insisted that the car which pulled up beside Biggie's SUV wasn't some coincidence. According to him, the dark Chevy Impala had been circling the area and following the convoy long before it stopped at that infamous red light. What stood out most to Gene was the precision, the way the shooter pulled up smoothly without hesitation, like he knew exactly where to be and who to target. This wasn't the kind of sloppy, spur-of-the-moment violence the media described. To Gene, it looked calculated, almost rehearsed. He's even said that the gunman's window came down slowly, calmly, before the shots rang out. That detail haunted him because it showed control, not panic. Someone wanted Biggie gone, and they carried it out with chilling confidence. But the part that disturbed Gene even more wasn't just the gunman. It was what he noticed about Puffy's reaction right after the shooting. In the chaos that followed the shooting, Genedeal's attention snapped to Sean Puffy Combs. While everyone else was panicking, Gene says Puffy's reaction struck him as strangely controlled, almost like he had been bracing for what was about to happen. According to Gene, Puffy didn't show the same confusion or disbelief that others did in the aftermath. Instead, he appeared focused, issuing orders and moving with urgency, but not shock. To Gene, it felt less like someone reacting to a sudden tragedy, and more like someone who had just seen a dangerous plan unfold. This observation has fueled endless speculation. Was Puffy just keeping it together under pressure, or did he already know something was about to happen that night? Gene has never outright accused him, but his words paint a picture that raises unsettling questions. And those questions only grew louder when Gene noticed how law enforcement handled the case afterward. If the shooting itself left Genedeal suspicious, the police response made him even more uneasy. According to him, the LAPD didn't act like investigators racing to solve the murder of one of the biggest artists in the world. Instead, it felt like they were dragging their feet. Witness statements went uncollected, key details slipped through the cracks, and some officers seemed more concerned with managing the scene than pursuing the shooter. Gene has often pointed out how quickly the investigation cooled, despite so many people being present that night. Years later, lawsuits against the LAPD would raise questions about possible corruption inside the department, with claims that officers may have had ties to death row records. For Gene, that only confirmed his suspicion that Biggie's death wasn't a random street crime. It was part of something deeper, something officials didn't want to touch. And as the years passed, Gene's story stayed buried until new interviews began reigniting interest. For years, Genedeal kept quiet about what he saw that night. He stayed loyal to the bad boy circle, even as rumors swirled and conspiracy theories exploded online. But as time passed, the weight of what he'd witnessed grew heavier. In recent years, Gene has broken that silence, appearing on podcasts, documentaries, and interviews where he finally shared his perspective. In 2021, he spoke openly on The Art of Dialogue, where he described in vivid detail the exact moments leading up to Biggie's death. His words painted a picture very different from the official version, and fans immediately began re-examining everything they thought they knew. Then in March 2023, on the 26th anniversary of Biggie's passing, Gene doubled down again, insisting the truth still hasn't been told. And most recently, in September 2023, his claims resurfaced online after renewed interest in the unsolved case, and new legal motions tied to old evidence kept the mystery alive. For Gene, speaking out wasn't about clout. It was about clearing his conscience and finally saying what he believes the world needs to hear. But the more Gene talked, the more backlash and danger seemed to follow. The moment Gene started speaking publicly, the pushback came fast. Some former insiders accused him of exaggerating events, while others hinted that he was putting himself in serious danger by reopening wounds that powerful people wanted left buried. Online, fans were divided. Some praised him for finally giving voice to what many had long suspected, that Biggie's death wasn't just a random act of violence. Others questioned his timing, asking why he stayed silent for so long if his story was true. But the criticism Gene feared most wasn't from the public. It was from behind the scenes. He's admitted to moving cautiously, saying he's aware of just how much power certain figures from that era still hold. The same intimidation and shadowy tactics that once silenced people in the 1990s, Gene believes, are still very much in play today, and yet, despite the risks, he hasn't backed down. If anything, the backlash only makes him more determined to set the record straight. But even with Gene's voice growing louder, one question refuses to fade. Will the truth about Biggie's murder ever actually come out? Decades after that night in March 1997, Biggie's murder remains one of hip-hop's darkest unsolved cases. Every anniversary brings fresh headlines, documentaries, and theories, but no real closure. And while police files sit gathering dust, Genedeal's account has reignited the debate over what really happened. To this day, fans still wonder, was it a simple drive-by gone wrong, or a carefully orchestrated hit with powerful people pulling strings behind the scenes? Gene's testimony doesn't answer every question, but it forces the world to look at the case through a new lens, one that suggests we may have been misled for decades. The mystery of who wanted Biggie gone still lingers, haunting the culture, haunting the streets of Los Angeles, and haunting the people who were closest to him. And as long as Genedeal keeps speaking out, the pressure to uncover the truth will only grow stronger. But if the answers ever do come out, they might be darker than anyone is ready to face. Gene Deal's version of Biggie's Final Night isn't just another story, it's a challenge to the narrative we've been told for more than 25 years. From the gunman's car to Puffy's reaction, from the LAPD's silence to the backlash Gene faces today, every detail pushes us closer to a truth that still feels out of reach. But maybe that's the real reason his words matter so much. If even part of what Gene says is true, then the world has been living with a lie about one of the greatest artists in hip hop history. And until the full truth comes out, the mystery of Biggie's death will never rest. What do you think? Is Gene finally pulling back the curtain on what really happened? Or is his version just another layer of speculation in a case built on secrets? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to know where you stand. And if you want more untold stories, hidden truths, and explosive revelations about the world of hip hop and celebrity culture, hit that like button and subscribe. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next.